Robberies. It is a crime that plagues the United States. Approximately 2.5 million robberies happen annually in the United States. And where it happens most commonly? Combat sports.
Okay.
Robberies is a term that is thrown around quite a bit here in the MMA community. It may seem obvious what it means when someone calls a fight a robbery, but just in case, a robbery in MMA or any other combat sports is what someone calls a fight that was a clear win for one fighter, but is surprisingly scored for the losing fighter, according to the judges. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because the term robbery gets thrown around a shit ton, with the Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling fight getting this type of criticism. In this video, I wanted to look at the scoring criteria of MMA, explain a little bit on how a fight should be scored, and then look back at some close fights that were deemed robberies by the community. According to the MMA Referee website, which is the official website for those who want to become MMA officials, with classes taught by John McCarthy himself, who is heavily credited for creating the unified rules that are used in most MMA organizations today. MMA is scored in 3 different criteria: effectiveness in striking/grappling, aggressiveness, and fighting area control. Starting off with the first criteria, striking/grappling, is graded based on legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative impact. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversals, and the achievement of advantageous positions that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match, with the immediate weighing more heavily than the cumulative impact. So in other words, if your attacks have an immediate effect, it is scored over someone who peppers you up the entire round. For example, Rob Font was outlanding Marlon Chito Vera the entire fight, but Chito's attacks had more immediate damage than Font's cumulative effects. The second criteria is that of effective aggressiveness, which is considered a fighter's attempts to finish the fight. The last but not least criteria is that of fighting area control, which is basically who is pushing the pace and who is deciding where the fight is taking place, on the ground or on the feet. MMA is scored using a 10-point system similar to boxing. A 10-10 round is a tied round which is rarely ever given out. A 10-9, which is the most common form of scoring, is when one fighter edges the other in that round. A 10-8 is used when a fighter dominates the other fighter. A 10-7 can also be used for even more grueling domination, but that is also rarely ever given out. When scoring a round, damage should always be the main thing a judge should look for. If there is any question over if ground control should outweigh the striking, it should be considered, where was there more damage? Was the fighter who was dominating on the feet doing more damage than the fighter on the ground? If striking between both fighters is even, then who was more dominant on the ground, and vice versa? Dominance and duration are also scored right when a round is finished. Who was in control most of the fight, and for how long? So to summarize, when a round is finished, it is immediately scored by the judges based on the damage, dominance, and duration of each criteria that was mentioned. Now onto the more entertaining part of the video, which fights are actually robberies? Starting off with the most recent fight, Cejudo vs. Sterling. In the first round of the fight, it was a very grappling heavy round, with both fighters being excellent wrestlers. Cejudo controlled mostly the beginning of the round, then Sterling came back at the end. I believe Aljo took the first round. He outstruck Cejudo and landed the more impactful shots, while the grappling was somewhat even. Second round, Cejudo definitely took it with striking, and Aljo has an odd style that takes a bit for him to get his groove going. Cejudo took advantage of that and was outstriking Aljo the entire round, and had some shots that hurt the champion. In the third round, it seemed that Cejudo had the most impactful shot so far with a flying knee. It seemed to stun Aljo for a second, but as the round progressed, Aljo started finding his groove with his striking, landing plenty of kicks, and he mixed his wrestling perfectly to take the round from Cejudo. Closest round so far, but using the scoring criteria, Aljo took the round based on striking and mixing in grappling. Start of the fourth round, Aljo continued with the kicks, battering Cejudo's left leg. This round was all Sterling. He teed off on Cejudo with his awkward striking. Cejudo did grapple well, but nothing that put Aljo in danger, and he was eventually reversed by Sterling anyway. Slow 5th round, but it was a clear Sterling round. Cejudo landed some decent shots, but the volume of Aljo was too much for Cejudo. The decision ended up being a split decision win for Aljo. I disagree with this decision. Aljo definitely won, but I believe it was a clear unanimous decision. Many fans believe Cejudo won 3 rounds against Aljo, mainly the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th round. The only clear round for Cejudo, in my opinion, was the 2nd. The 3rd was close, but Sterling took it with his striking and mixing in some clinch work. The only argument for the 5th round being for Cejudo is the takedown he landed, even though he didn't really do anything with that takedown. If anything, I could see a 3-2 in favor of Aljo, but I believe it to be more 4-1 for the champion, Aljamain Sterling. At least the right man won, so no robbery, but it was close. On to the second fight. For those who have seen my other videos, I am sort of not really a Petr Yan fan. That being said, I can say for sure that this was a robbery. First round was all the sugar show. As most MMA fans know, Yan is a slow starter. O'Malley pieced him up a bit in the first round, so it was a clear 10-9 round for O'Malley. Second round was Petr Yan. They both hurt each other on the feet, but with the added grappling, it was a clear round for Yan. Last round was tricky because O'Malley definitely landed the most impactful shot with the knee that opened a cut on Yan's forehead. However, the striking eventually started to favor Yan as O'Malley tried pressuring Yan, but Yan kept countering like a mofo. Then with the added grappling, it was a clear round for Yan. I understand that close fights shouldn't always be called robberies, but this was a clear as day 29-28 win for Yan. He didn't just lay and pray with the takedowns, he actually did damage with them, and he also did damage on the feet. Once again, I can see how the judges scored the last round for O'Malley because of the knee, but in all honesty, it was a clear round for Yan. Even Khabib agrees. So, robbery. For the last fight discussed in this video, it will be the widely controversial robbery of Jared Gordon by Paddy Pimblett. Much like the Yan and O'Malley fight, I am going to come out of the gate and say this was indeed another robbery. A unanimous decision win for Paddy Pimblett is a clear robbery. It was a clear 29-28 for Gordon, with him winning rounds 1 and 3. Even if the third round was an uneventful round for Gordon, he took it with his grappling, as Paddy had nothing to offer. First round was a clear win for Gordon, as he lit up Paddy like a Christmas tree, bouncing his Howie from benchwarmers looking ass head all over the octagon. The second round was a clear Paddy round. He got him with a close submission attempt, and then was lighting Gordon up on the feet. Unanimous for Paddy is a clear as day robbery. Clear 2 rounds for Gordon, in my opinion. The purpose of this video was to educate those on the scoring criteria of MMA, specifically within the UFC, as the term robbery gets thrown around too often in my opinion. There is a drastic difference between a close fight and a robbery. Close fights come down to a round that can be scored for either fighter, much like the third round in the Gilbert Burns-Hamzat Chimaev fight. Understanding and using the scoring criteria can help fans differentiate a close fight and a robbery. That being said, I also feel like some of these judges are kind of whack with their scoring. As mentioned in the Paddy Pimblett fight, I don't know what they were watching or how they scored it. I don't want to get all conspiracy theory and say that, oh, the commission or the UFC paid the judges for the person they wanted to win. I think that's fucking bullshit. I just think these judges are absolute dumb fucks, which makes more sense in my opinion. The Cejudo and Aljo fight can be considered a close fight, as it was 3-2 for Aljo, coming down to a single round. For the other fights, it was a clear as day robbery. As you can tell, who dictates the fight, who lands the harder shots, and who was overall winning in both striking and grappling exchanges. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this quick video on the scoring criteria of MMA. As I said before, hopefully I educated some people on the scoring criteria. As I said, this was the main purpose of the video, because it's kind of fucking annoying when everyone calls a fight a robbery. And sometimes they're right. Most of the time, I feel like it's just fans complaining their guy lost, which is understandable. MMA fans are very passionate, and I can understand why throw the term robbery out. And I can also understand why they would go to extreme lengths of weird fucking conspiracy theories, even though I believe that they're just pulling shit out of their ass. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. please like and subscribe, and have a great day.